want to create content that's not only fun, but also like positive and uplifting. I think it's important for me that I'm putting out something parents can trust and kids can just enjoy and have a great time.
Hey parents, quick heads up. DJ Raphi is bringing his high energy kid favorite live show to Philadelphia on March 11th, 2026. Think music, movement, laughter, and kids actually joining the show, not sitting still. If your family loves dancing, joy, and unforgettable memories, grab your tickets now. Details are in the show notes, and we'll see you there. Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Cieslinski, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today's guest is someone who reminds us that joy is universal and sometimes it doesn't need words at all. DJ Raphi, born Raphael Nathan, begins his journey in Johannesburg, later calling Jerusalem home, and now bringing his music and movement to stages around the world. Through dance, rhythm, and play, he built a global community of kids and family who feel seen, connected, and free to be themselves. What I love about his work is that it meets children exactly where they are, curious, expressive, emotional, and it invites adults to remember something we often forget, that movement is communication, play is healing, and joy is powerful. Today, we're talking about his journey, his upcoming U.S. tour, including a stop right here in Philadelphia, and why dance might be one of the most important emotional tools we can give our kids. This conversation is about creativity, connection, and the courage to leave with joy. So without further ado, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Samantha.
Yes. So before we talk about dance, to start each episode, we have our wine, and win of the week segment. This is where we share our favorite bottle of wine, vent about something that's been bothering us, and celebrate our recent victories. So grab a glass, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So what is your drinking wine of the week?
So my wine of the week is a rosé called Tora Mountain Vista. It's really smooth, fruity, and delicious.
I love a good rosé. I'm in red season right now. Well, right now I'm doing dry January, so I'm not in any sort of wine season, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
So what is your complaint wine of the week?
I think my complete wine is like, I have rehearsals tomorrow towards an upcoming tour that we're doing, and I'm really looking forward to it. But also, I know that I need to be like on my feet for 6 hours straight with the team watching me and giving me like comments and all that. So I'm not really looking forward to that as much as it's exciting.
Yes.
And then my win of the week is that I'm flying with friends to Europe, just Budapest for a couple of days,
Oh, that's awesome.
relax for a little bit before all this craziness starts.
Yes, I was looking at your tour schedule across the US, and so that's going to be a busy time for you. Like I said, we'll be at the Philadelphia one, so I'm really excited to see you there.
Yeah, sure. Amazing.
Yeah, so I always like to ask my guests, what's one significant challenge you've successfully navigated shaping your journey to where you are today?
I think planning my tour has been a really big challenge. I don't think I understood how much work would go into it. I'm so happy that I'm doing it. But putting everything together, all my other shows that I've done in the past, and taking all my videos that were online and then bringing that to the stage while doing choreography and working on my fitness and singing and all that just together has been definitely a challenge. Pretty excited about it. But that's one challenge that I've dealt with. Yeah.
That's awesome. So the Running Wine Mom, we also talk a little fitness. What is your favorite way to stay active besides dance?
Right. So I go to the gym probably 4 to 5 times a week. If I can do 6 times, I will. But I also kind of like really try to keep to a healthy lifestyle. So I don't diet really. I just, I have a nutritionist that kind of leads me and guides me throughout this entire year, getting ready for the upcoming live shows. And I have a physical trainer that makes sure that he's in touch with the nutritionist. And they basically built me a nice plan where I can really put myself in shoes of an athlete. And not much of a a bodybuilder or try to lose weight. That's not the goal. It's to build muscle, become strong, to prevent any injuries that could happen throughout the tour. And we've been doing that for the past few months and it's been very intense, but it's also it's made me like more active, more energized. I feel happier. So it's kind of this like loop that's been happening.
Did you think that you would have to prepare that much physically for the upcoming tour?
So I've been doing shows forever. Since I was a
Mhm.
kid, I've been performing on stage. So I haven't really ever prepared for something like as intensely as this. I would say that as soon as we started filming some sort of a draft of what the show would look like, I realized that it's not that I'm not ready, it's that I need to be way more prepared for what is
Right.
about to come, especially if you're doing 11 shows one day after the other, sometimes 2 shows a day. And if you don't want to get injured, and if you want to enjoy the show and smile and, being able to sing and whatever that is, beatbox and, have fun, you really need to be in top shape. And that's
Mhm.
what I've realized with some of these artists that you watch, like Justin Timberlake or Beyonce. I know any of these amazing artists, I realize when they're dancing and singing, some of it is lip syncing, which is totally okay. And I'm sure I'm going to be doing a ton of that as well. But I think but the idea that you have to be so active and remember all the different dances while singing original songs is so hard and breathing. You have
Yeah.
to breathe.
Yeah.
So I'm learning how to breathe. That's what I'm actually doing.
And yeah, the breath is something we take for granted so much, but when you're doing something like that, you have to be very specific about it. So I'm sure
Yeah.
that's really difficult. So how does maintaining your fitness routine contribute to your mental health?
When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I have my coffee, and then I'd either have a banana or some carb just to give me that boost of energy. And I go straight to the gym with no excuses. Like, even if I'm not feeling so well, or that I don't have a lot of time because I have a meeting, or I have rehearsals, or I have a show, whatever it is, I wake up super early and I also get everything prepared at night so that
Mm.
I just leave the house and then I find myself at the gym and I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing it. And then as soon as I start getting into that, like, I won't start crazy. I'll do a short run and then a little bit of a climb up routine and then a little bit of biking and then some weights. And then suddenly I'm like, wow, that's been an hour. I feel amazing. I'll have some protein that I need to have. And my day starts already at like a peak mode where I'm
Right.
super sharp. I know what's going on. I'm driven. I'm positive. I have a lot of motivation. And I make sure that's how I start my days. I try not to keep on like pushing it because I know that if I push it to the afternoon or the evening, I'm just not
You're
going to get
like,
to it.
I know. It always in theory sounds nice. Like I'll just do it later, and then once later comes, you're like, I just don't feel like it at all.
Exactly.
Which is difficult. But yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk a little parenthood. Tell me about your family.
So I'm married to my amazing wife, Ilana. She's been the rock throughout this whole journey. She's been there for me for every moment, from all the top moments to all the worst moments. And I have twins, a boy and a girl. Yeah, they're 8 years
That's
old.
twins. All right. Well, we're gonna talk. Maybe that's the thing you were least prepared for in parenthood. What were you least prepared for in parenthood?
The twins. Yeah, that was so intense and crazy. I think it was always a dream of mine to have twins.
Hmm.
And then when we heard that we're having twins, it was such a celebration, but also a huge
Oh
moment of
gosh,
like scare and anxiety and how we're going to deal with this. And I started really performing quite often at different events. And, I was pushing my career forward 8 years ago, or even 9 years ago, really intensely. And then, I was like, okay, well, I guess they'll be born and we'll figure it out. But for 2 years, I didn't sleep. But it was actually the most amazing thing because it pushed me to open up like a team and create this group around me that was helping me run everything. But as a father, I'd highly recommend it, to be honest.
yeah.
Is a dream. I just know that I did not sleep for 2 years. I do not remember those first 2 years.
Mine aren't twins, but they're 18 months apart, and they're 3.5 and 5. But I feel like once, like the first 2.5 years were just wild, and then all of a sudden we're on another path where they're playing together, they're sleeping,
Right.
they're like friends. So it's kind of, again, no comparison to twins, but I could see how once you get to the other side, it's a little bit nicer.
Yeah. I think now at this age when they're 8 years old,
Yeah.
it's amazing. They're
Right.
best friends and they play with each other and we have
Mhm.
play dates with my daughter's friends and then my son's friends. They all play together. It's just, and we
That's
all,
fun.
and also they go to the same school. So we
Right.
have the same homework. So we just,
Which
I'll
is
sit
nice.
with my daughter and my wife will sit with my son and we just kind of do the same. If I don't know what's going on, I'm like, what do we do now? And there's always an answer. So that's awesome.
That's awesome. So what do you think your parenting style is?
I'm probably like a goofy type of father. I try to make my kids laugh all the time and just to get their attention and kind of like, I wouldn't say annoy them, but yeah, kind of like poke them a bit and then see their reactions. Even as twins, it's just hysterical how they would like look at each other and be like, "Dad is so silly," and I'm like, "Yeah." I really love doing that, like bringing that fun side of me because I do that anyway at my job. It's what I do. I
Mhm.
entertain kids, and to do that for my children is just a gift. It's awesome, and
That's
they
fun.
just see me as their dad and nothing else. It's awesome. It's fun.
What's one piece of advice you would give to other parents?
I would think, it's important to be there for your children and not miss their big moments. Life goes past so fast. I hear that a lot from older people, and I'm 35 now, and I'm already noticing that, like, oh wow, they're already eight. They've already passed that first grade. They're in second grade, and it's just going really fast. I'm not even like I'm trying to catch every moment that I can. But you know, I'm not. I know that parents are super busy. I'm super busy, but I know that at 4 o'clock p.m. every day I'm home. If I have to push it because I have a show or I need to travel, I understand, and I make an assumption that okay, because I'm traveling this week, so the week after or the week before, I'm going to make more time for my kids. I want them to
Mhm.
feel that I'm in their lives. My parents were very much like that. They didn't travel like crazy. They didn't do much anything besides work and then be at home. And then when they were home, they were there for us. So that's my main advice: is just to be there physically with your kids.
Yeah, that's super important and great advice. So let's get into you. Tell us about your journey. It began in Johannesburg and took you all the way to Jerusalem and now to stages around the world.
Yeah, so we lived in Johannesburg, South Africa, and we had a comfortable life, and it was pretty easy. I had like a bunch of different classes I would do. I played tennis and cricket after school, and it was just great, I guess. And then my parents wanted to find something a bit more meaningful for their children to have even a safer life. South Africa is not the safest country, so they decided to move to Israel, which could sometimes be a really challenging move. Sometimes this country can really hit you in the face. Sometimes it's not the easiest. But I think it made me and my younger brothers grow intensely in a way where challenges in life were just part of your day to day. And then you kind of become this like mentor for yourself, for people around you. And I have family all over the world, and I see that how different we are. They have a different type of life and lifestyle, and the way that I live life is very different. But I feel that I have probably some tools that I would miss if I weren't growing up here. And those tools did help me become my own entrepreneur and build businesses and go after my dreams and do all the stuff.
And so, being in the business that you are, you talk about how language and movement connected you to people long before words did. What was this realization like that dance could be its own kind of language?
It was really eye opening for me. I was traveling somewhere in Europe and I needed to get directions for somewhere. And I tried to explain to them in English, like, hey, how do you get to this area? I want to do a track over here. And they didn't understand what I was saying. So what did I do? I ended up using my body language. I'm like, I need to go to there. And then I would show them and they'd be like, you go there. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
there. And it was like this choreography of communication where I realized that it's just unbelievably amazing how we can use our body to communicate with people from all over the world.
Hmm.
And it kind of proved itself throughout the videos that I was doing that people were watching from different places around the world. So yeah, I do believe that dancing, body movement is a universal communication kind of tool that you could use. And it's just so surprising for me that I learned that through just living.
Yeah. And so, kind of along the same lines, kids and adults speak different languages, but what do you think the kids feel or learn from your work that adults sometimes miss?
I think if I had to learn something new today at my age, I'd kind of have to put some effort into that and focus and maybe, organize myself, a schedule and a timetable of when I'm going to learn, how I'm going to learn. Am I going to eat
Mhm.
something before, after coffee to make sure that I'm completely focused? And I think sometimes with kids, they're just like these like sponges and they collect all this that's coming through the screen, which could be a positive or a negative. And I think the difference is what, at least what I'm trying to do is that I know that when a kid watches me, he's going to probably be gaining and accepting a lot of information. So that information needs to be genuine and educational and positive. And I think that as a grown up, when I watch a video or have some sort of an activity that I'm part of, I know how to differentiate between what is good and what is bad and what is genuine and what is not. And kids don't have that option or
Mhm.
don't have that ability until a later age. And that's kind of why I see what I do as an important mission on teaching these kids through the medium of video, something positive that will go straight through because it does.
And how do you balance that being entertaining with being meaningful? I know we talked about the planning of if you're making a new dance or something, or do you kind of see it after and it just kind of comes a little bit more natural?
So, okay, so those are basically two different things, like how I kind of like structure when I
Yeah.
build the different pieces of art or entertainment or videos. And how I balance being meaningful, educational slash entertaining. So firstly, I think like I always see it as like a comedy. Like I want to make the kids kind of laugh. One of my dreams is to be a comedian in some way, but I think I bring it through my videos that at the end of the day, I'm not too serious about it. I kind of give like a hint of like, we're also joking here. It's not just about learning the ABC. Mm, But I think at the end of the day, the way that I kind of look at all of this is that when I was a kid, I would listen to different artists and different musicians, and whatever they said in the songs directly impacted me.
Mhm.
So if they were talking about positive things, then it would uplift me. I'd feel that. And if they were talking about violence or any abuse or just about money, whatever it was, it made me feel like kind of low and down and like, wow, I'm not them or I should be after those things because those were my role models.
Mhm.
And today, where kids are exposed to social media and to so much garbage on
Right.
TikTok and all the stuff, which I'm a part of, by the way. I'm also on TikTok, but there's just so much garbage. I think that I've kind of I've decided to be some sort of tunnel of or funnel, if you want to call it, of like positive, fun, good content where
I love
kids
that.
kind of say, okay, I learned something here, but it was also super fun. And, with all the animations that were happening, it was kind of cool. So
Right.
they stick around. And then just
Yeah.
in terms of structure, yeah, I think first we think about like the idea of what we want to do, what our message is, what we're trying to do here. Are we trying to make them laugh? Are we trying to teach them a lesson? Are we trying to teach them about who I am as Rafi, as a kid? Am I trying to get a bigger crowd, get a classroom moving? Am I trying to do a brain break? Once we have that, we go into producing the music with our team. Once we have the music, we go into choreography, we film it, and then we edit that video.
Mhm.
Usually it could take between 3 to 4 months each
Wow.
piece that we do.
Wow, that's so after becoming a father, has that changed the way you create the stories you wanna tell through music and dance?
Yeah, I think, my kids, they actually get to see the videos before anyone else. So I love watching it with them. I see their reactions immediately, and I know if my intentions worked, if like, oh, this
Right.
was supposed to make them laugh, or this was supposed to make them jump or move in a certain way. So I can see the reactions on spot, which is awesome in real time. And if they find it boring, then I know to adjust and change it, accordingly or whatever it is. But yeah, I think like they're starting to understand that their father is this like kids entertainer and other
Mhm.
kids
So cool.
the kind of want my attention or they love me or whatever there is. But I make sure that they know that they're my children
Yeah.
and they come first. Yeah.
So cool. So let's talk about your upcoming tour, including, like I said, Philadelphia, which I'm excited for. What are you most excited for about this leg of your journey?
First of all, I'm so excited to come to Philly. I think it's going to be a really special stop, and I'm waiting to meet all the different kids and families from Philadelphia, guys. It's going to be very, very special. But besides that, I like just to see the families come together and dance and follow me like they've been watching me at home.
Mhm.
They've been in their lounges, they've been in their schools. And I guess for them to see me, I'm sure will be special. But for me to see the people behind the screens,
Yeah.
because I don't get that immediate impact here on the day to day. Right now, I'm sitting in my office and my studio is right over here. My music studio is right over here. So we have this space with the editors and everyone's in this like, DJ Raphi franchise building. We're all creating content, but we don't have a crowd. So we don't get to see the direct impact. And I think that is going to be a very special moment.
That's awesome. And so describe what a DJ Raffi live show feels like, especially for kids and families who might be coming for the first time, like our family.
Okay. So a lot of energy, energy, energy. I cannot say that enough. It's just going to be a lot of dancing, a lot of jumping, a lot of fun, a lot of sweating, and a lot of laughing. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be something that people will remember, I hope. And I'm also hoping to kind of make them feel that they're part of the show, that they're not coming to watch the show and take
Mhm.
their phones out and film or whatever. I want them to dance. I want them to be part of what we're doing. And that's how it's always been since day one from the first video. I just
Yeah.
did a dance, but it was all up to the people watching to follow along and join me. It was never about me, it was always about.
Yeah. And so your journey started on YouTube. Your YouTube following has grown into, a phenomenon with millions of views. Do you feel a responsibility towards your audience, especially the younger kids who watch and dance along?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely do feel a sense of responsibility knowing that like so many kids watch this. I want to create content that's not only fun, but also like positive and uplifting. I think it's important for me that I'm putting out something parents can trust and kids can just enjoy and have a great time. I think many times I've had a situation where I would see a kid that's not even mine on their parents' phone watching a random advert or going into random content, and they'd be like, "Wow, like, that's crazy that they're getting to watch that." And I think I have a job in this world, and that job is to give kids something that will uplift them and give them
Mhm.
something meaningful and special.
Yeah. And how do you want children who, dance to your videos now to remember you when they look back in 10 years as a core, childhood person in their life?
So, it's kind of funny. I'm already getting that. So when kids move from primary school to middle school and
Mhm.
then high school, so they always say, I used to dance to your videos when I was in primary school. I'm like, that was exactly a year ago. But they still see that as a different segment of their lives. And they kind of say, yeah, we grew up in your videos. So I've been doing videos for almost 6 years now. That'll be March, 6 years. So, kids that have been dancing to my videos 4 years ago, they're not doing the same dances as they did then. They're doing the new stuff, but they're still like, wow, I grew up on your videos. And that really means a lot to me because I know how much these dances and music and videos can have an impact on you as a kid. When you
Mhm.
grow up, you kind of like hold on to that, like, "Oh, wow," like, I remember DJ Raphi said this, like, superstar thing. It really got to me and helped me kind of motivated me to become, a better soccer player, whatever it
Mhm.
was. And I think that's what I'm hoping, that people kind of go after their dreams and say, "Your son really helped me kind of follow my path and get an outlet that I was really interested in."
Yeah, and kind of along those lines, what role do you think, creative play, movement, dance, music plays in the emotional health of kids?
So there's a story where I met this kid that he really was like a quiet kid and suffered from social anxiety. And the parents came up to me, this is quite a while back, and they're like, we really want you to kind of come to their birthday and celebrate with them and make him feel like, make him feel wanted and recognized and watched. I'm like, of course, I'll be there. And this kid was like really shy, even for me, and like the friends haven't even arrived. And eventually, everyone came along, and this kid was shy on the side. We started putting on music. I started dancing. All the kids danced. He didn't. And slowly, I kind of like hinted to him to come join me, and he started moving with me, and we did it super simple. Put your hands up, put your hands down. Let's do a little bit of a twist. Let's do something a little bit funny, whatever it was. And he started doing that. He started laughing. His friends started laughing. And then we started, taking it to the next level. The next thing, he joined me by the DJ stage and we started DJing together. And he suddenly put the headphones on. By the end of the day, people were picking him up on chairs. He was taking selfies. He felt like a star.
That's
And I
awesome.
think that all he needed was to move a little bit, just to start moving those arms and getting to a rhythm where where his body's saying to his mind, relax, release, let go. Sometimes if I'm having a long day, where I have like Zoom after filming and whatever it is. I decide to put a song on and I just start moving and dancing, even doing a few push-ups just to get the body moving. It really like kind of like gives my brain an actual break and
Yeah.
says like, whew, okay, restart. And then my confidence comes back, my focus comes back. So movement, emotions completely intertwined, no question about it.
Yeah, and as you're saying this, I'm imagining a kid being very tight, and as you're feeling anxious, that's how you feel, and you can't be that way when you're dancing. So that's so true. With just if you're starting to move your body, you're going to naturally feel less anxious because your body's going to relax a little bit, like you kind of. And as someone who spreads joy, how have you dealt with moments of sadness, especially when your message is about positivity?
Everyone goes through tough times. Think for me, it's about staying mentally healthy and not trying to pretend, that everything's perfect. I definitely lean on like working out a lot. That definitely like kind of helps me keep my mind straight. And I try to surround myself with good friends and family around. I definitely built throughout the years a strong team. Like, strong support team is
Mhm.
super important to kind of have your back when things are amazing and when things are not so amazing. So I think those things really help me get through harder times and keep me moving forward.
I know that you went through a really difficult time with losing your mom in 2022. How did
Definitely.
you deal with that in the process of everything?
I think I'm still dealing with it, and it happened so tragically and fast and out of nowhere that we didn't even get to say goodbye. So, in one way, that was the hardest part, not saying goodbye to my mom. But on the other hand, because I never said goodbye, she's never really gone. So
Mhm.
the relationship continued and it still continues. My mom was like my biggest fan and biggest hero. And the fact that she sacrificed everything to move countries just so that I will have a better life, and she worked in like 5 different jobs every single day, it kind of really helps me kind of move forward because I know that every single day that I'm doing more of what she loved so much, which is me doing this whole thing,
Mhm.
kind of gives like so much respect to her memory. And I know that she would be so proud and happy that I'm pursuing this dream, this mission that I've had since I was a kid. She
Mhm.
was there. When I had a hard time, I had social anxiety as a kid. I was bullied quite often. So she would come with me to school and she would sit outside the school just so that I would
Mm.
feel not alone, that I would feel recognized and acknowledged. And, I ended up doing that for my kids when they needed that, and she taught me just so much about parenting, about what it is to be a good parent, what it is to be a good mom, and I realized how much she sacrificed, for us
Yeah.
as a family, as me for our child.
Yeah, I'm sure that's really difficult to be going through and spreading such you're supposed to be happy all the time on your videos and to kind of go through that. I can't imagine. So I'm really sorry that you're still going through that, but I'm sure she's going to be with you on the tour.
Yeah, she will.
Yes, absolutely. As a content creator, there's so many young kids who that's what they aspire to be. I want to be a YouTube star. I'm going to be a TikTok famous. What's kind of one misconception that people have about being content creator or a live performer, especially for kids and family that maybe they don't understand from the outside?
Right. So I can tell you that I'm learning throughout this process how much this is not fun and games.
Mhm.
The tour is a perfect example. So I think I'm learning myself as a content creator how challenging it is to do what I do and how this is not fun and games in any way whatsoever. The perfect example is me preparing for my live shows. Preparing for my live shows for the tour has been the most cruel process I could possibly imagine. I find myself every single day with that side stitch that you get in your stomach
Yes.
when you work out like crazy.
Yeah.
So I do that on purpose, but I get to that moment where I'm like, I need to take a second and breathe this out. Okay. Ooh. So it's just so painful and but so rewarding at the same time. And I think that comes with any big thing you want to do in life. The sacrifice could be super intense and large, and the win will be equal to that. So the
Mhm.
more work you put into it, the outcome will be bigger and larger than life that you could possibly imagine. And I think, doing what I do specifically is being a content creator while taking that on stage. I don't know that a lot of creators do that.
Right.
Yeah, but if you were just to do, a style of content creation where it's not physical, I think mentally waking up every day, knowing that you need to provide content with value to an audience and community that no one kind of gives you that assumption or guarantee that they're going to like it or watch it. So you may upload a video that you've been working on for ages and you've put so much money into that video and you upload it and it reaches 300 views and you were sure
Mhm.
it was going to reach 10,000 views. That can really hit you hard and take your motivation really down to the ground. So, as a content creator, you need to know that those moments will come probably again and again and again. If you could get hit like that and not let it get you down, but help you motivate you to create even better content or more content or adjust or move along the lines of what needs to change for those videos to get more views, then you will make it. But the
Mhm.
reason that I'm standing here right now before a tour talking to you and doing all this stuff is because that first video that I made, the cha-cha slide, which now has 105 million views, the first 3 months that it was online, it had exactly 300 views.
Wow.
But I knew that it didn't matter. And even though I was hit with that reality of I'm not successful, no one likes it, no one's watching it, I knew that I had to keep on going and creating more content. And I kept on
Mhm.
doing that no matter what the views were. 100
Yeah.
videos later, here we are. So I think that's the key. And that's something important to know as a content creator, that it's going to be a real roller coaster, probably mostly downhill. And
Yeah.
what you will be the winner when you come out of that, as long as you stayed on the roller coaster.
Yeah. I know, I feel like you're talking directly to me because it's like I'll spend, like, so much time on a video and it's like, "You've got 3" exactly you said, 300 views, and then sometimes you'll do, like, the quickest video and it's like, "You've got 1,000,000 views," but it's all about that consistency, so I totally can relate to that. Alright, so let's round it out with the last question. If you could pick one song as the theme of your life right now, what would it be and why?
So I was debating, because someone asked that to me recently, what is your favorite song? Like, what is it? And we had to choose my favorite song for the tour, which I'm not going to say. I'm not going to mention that which song that is, because that's a surprise, and I'm hoping
Yes.
to do that. But what I can say is that I have 2 songs that I'd love to mention. So the one is Goo Goo Gaga. Now, Goo Goo Gaga is basically a comedy where a baby comes into the video and I kind of learn what the baby does. And the baby on the bus goes, where, or all these different stuff. And it's just funny. And that's me dressed up as a baby. But I think the message behind it actually is that we all have a little baby inside of us. Not
Yeah.
not being pregnant. I mean, we're all just like these little fragile children that are looking for someone to love them. And I brought that through comedy, but I think it's that. It's that I always kind of see myself at this little child that is learning once again how to walk, how to talk, how to eat
Mhm.
properly. But in my own world, I keep on learning new stuff. I keep on hurting myself. I keep on falling and then crying and I'm looking for someone to help me and support me and teach me. But eventually this baby gets to walk and crawl and talk and run and grows up to be someone incredible. So that's just like an insight that I've had on Google Gaga, which again, it came out as a comedy. But the idea
Yeah.
behind it was like showing DJ Raphi is also just this little baby
Mhm.
that's looking for something, looking for meaning. And then the second song is Superstar. So I was bullied when I was a kid quite often, and all I wanted again was someone to notice me and to be kind and just to have a friend that would,
Mhm.
spend time with me during recess. And then it came to a stage where I made the change myself, and I reminded to myself that I am worthy, that if I want, I can be this person I want to be. I can be this superstar, superhero. I can be strong. And I think that idea took me to be kind of like a winner in every aspect that I chose to participate in. If it was in beatboxing or breakdancing or DJing or being a YouTuber or building a business, I kind of always like had this idea in my head that I'm going to be the best at this, and it helped me kind of realize that, sometimes you can motivate yourself, even if you're in a very like hard environment.
Yeah. Well, I think that is a great spot to end it. So that's going to bring us to the end of another episode of The Running Wine Mom. What I keep coming back to is how intentional your work is, how you create space where kids feel free, they feel connected, and they feel safe to express themselves, and how you remind adults that movement and play aren't just extras, they're essentials. So thank you so much for giving us that message.
Thank you so much for having me, Samantha.
Yeah. I think that so many parents listening are walking away from this episode with a deeper understanding of why dance, music, and creative play matters so much, not just for fun, but for emotional health, confidence, and connection. So if you're listening and you have kids, or honestly, if you just need a reminder of how good it feels to move, laugh, or let go, I hope you take that with you and check out one of DJ Raphi's videos. As always, thank you for spending time with us on The Running Wine Mom. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a mom who needs to hear it. You can follow me on Instagram at The Running Wine Mom _. And Raphi, where can the listeners find you and all your info on your tour?
Sure. So they can go into djrafi.com/tour. And of course, I will be coming to Philadelphia and I will see you there too, Samantha, I hope.
Yes.
And please
Yes.
come along, bring that positive energy. You can find my music on Spotify and, of course, on YouTube. Feel free to join the fun. It's going to be hype.
That's awesome. And thank you again for coming on. This was great. So, thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, you are strong, you are capable, and you are all amazing. Until next time, keep running, keep dancing, keep sipping, and keep embracing the joy of parenthood. Cheers, and I will be back next Tuesday.